have the desire to create amazing content for your audience, but just don't know what to even talk about? When you're trying to do all the things to keep your business and personal life afloat, content can often feel like just another should on your list. But what if I told you that you actually have more ideas than you realize and that inspiration is hiding in plain sight? In this episode, I want to walk you through how I never run out of content ideas. I'll share some of my go to sources of inspiration and how I brainstorm in a way that feels really easy and light, and the simple techniques that help my clients feel like content creating queens. And if you want to take this even further, don't forget to join me for my year's worth of content ideas workshop that's coming up at the end of the month. That's July 2025. You're going to walk away from this live session with a bank of powerful, purposeful content ideas tailored to your business and your audience. I'll tell you more about it at the end of today's episode. Let's do this. Welcome to the Powerful Content Podcast, your go-to source for content creation, strategy, and business inspiration. I'm your host, Mel Daniels, content strategist, coach, and speaker, empowering women across the globe to grow their business with powerful content that connects, nurtures, and converts. So if you're ready to create standout content that gets you noticed and remembered, or build an aligned audience who love you and are ready to buy from you, you're in the right place. I believe that content has the power to connect us all. It's up to you how you use it. Listen in for genuine and insightful chats with guests, as well as practical tools and strategies from me. It's so lovely to have you here. Let's dive into the show. I acknowledge the Wongal people of the Eora Nation as the traditional custodians of the country that I am recording from today. I recognise their continuing connection to the land and waters. I pay my respects to elders past and present and extend that respect to all First Nation people listening today. Hello, beautiful people, and welcome to episode 176 of the Powerful Content Podcast. I hope that you're well. I have just returned from a short but very sweet getaway with the family. It was really super cold where we went, and the wind chill factor was absolutely through the roof on a couple of days, but do you know what? It was kind of a good excuse to stay inside, read a good book in front of the fire. It's funny how a short break can really refuel your energy and enthusiasm, and I'm really glad that we did it. Anyway, let's get into today's topic. When it comes to creating content, I know that so many of you have that real will and desire to create content for your business, but you're not sure on exactly what to say. And often this isn't for a lack of ideas. I think it's more to do with having too many ideas in most situations and not knowing where to start, and then being unsure of how to make them really work strategically for you and your business. So today I'm giving you a few ideas on where to find your ideas. And then in future episodes, I'll help you place these ideas into a strategic plan that's going to lead your ideal client on that journey with you to becoming a paying client. So firstly, before we jump into this, I want to debunk a myth that every piece of content that you create has to be 100% original all of the time. And I really think that that's crazy, and it's crazy for a few reasons. First of all, people need to hear what you have to say several times and in several different ways for the message to sink in. Talking about an idea only once isn't serving you, and it's not serving them either. Secondly, you're going to run out of things to say pretty quickly if everything's original all the time, or you'd end up creating yourself this content creation hamster wheel that you just can't get off and quickly leads to burnout. So as I'm talking today, I want you to remember that one broad idea can stretch a really long way over a long period of time and across different parts of your ecosystem. Now, I've often spoken about my method of mind mapping my ideas, and it's this method that I'll be teaching in the upcoming workshop I mentioned in the intro, and it's something that I do at the beginning of every single year. This mind map turns out different each year as my thought leadership shifts, or I come up with new frameworks or new perspectives on things. And this method flows really easy for me as I've been doing it a while, but I know that not everyone can just sit down
and map out a year's worth of ideas. So today I'm going to give you a few sources of ideas that can help get those creative juices flowing. And these sources simply come from paying attention, in particular to the gaps. That's it. So the first one is industry trends. I really like to understand what's going on in the content world, but not jump on every trend, but understand what's shifting and how I feel about it. I ask myself, does this resonate with me? Is there something missing from this conversation that I want to say? And that is where the gold lies. An example of this is AI. Right now, there is so much shifting in the world of AI. First, it had and still continues to have an impact on content creation, but now it's shifting into the realm of SEO and the impacts on small businesses. For me, when it first came out, I really had to grapple with the moral dilemma of mass producing subpar content using AI. Now I know that my perspective is that it's a great tool and everyone should be using it, but not to replace themselves, but more like an assistant. So I really want you to think about, is there something happening in your industry that you can comment on? The second source is my peers and competitors. Now, hear me out with this one. I don't spend a lot of time on this because I really don't like comparing myself to others. And I really don't recommend that you do it either if you're subject to a bit of comparisonitis. But once again, peers, competitors, and coaches in my space provide a super simple way of me knowing what they're talking about and noticing a gap that I can fill in, or I might want to take what they're saying and go a different way with it or go deeper on a surface level idea. And the third source is books, podcasts, and conversations. So, literally anything can spark a content idea if you're open to receiving it. I'm particularly one for an analogy. So, I'm always comparing things happening in my life to content. That's just what I do. And that's the beauty of being you and bringing more you to your content as well. Your lived experience becomes content when you view it through that particular lens. But once again, if you search for books and podcasts in your niche, then look at the 2 and 3 star reviews. It'll really give you an idea of what's missing that people want that you could talk about. And the 4 and 5 star reviews will tell you what people love about a certain topic. And you can think about how to perhaps approach that from a different perspective. So you really don't have to reinvent the wheel when it comes to content ideas. Sometimes the best content actually starts with noticing what's already being talked about and really ask yourself, what do I think about this? But I think that probably one of the easiest ways that you can come up with content ideas is from the people who you're here to serve. You're likely already sitting on content gold, but simply needs to put some time aside to find it. And I know that this is something that's very difficult for all of us to do because we have so many other things going on in our lives and it's really difficult to find the time. But when you can put it aside, that's when your business will thank you for it. So some ways that you can do this is look at the questions that you're being asked, whether it's in DMs, emails, comments on social posts. Think about the repeated objections or hesitations people give you before buying. And if you do a post-launch survey, this is a really great way to find out those objections and to get ideas for your content, to overcome those objections before they even get to that point. You can think about what clients say during your calls, if you have coaching calls with them, or inside your programs or inside your courses. That will give you some really great ideas and testimonials. And think about reverse engineering the journey they went on. So, what's the outcome that they're saying that they got from working with you? And how did they get to that point? And you can begin to pull out content ideas from that. So, every time someone says, I feel like I'm doing everything and nothing's working, that's a content idea for you. Every time someone asks something like, what should I post when I'm not launching? Or how do I help my child become confident? Or I've tried the Pomodoro technique, but still not getting anything done. I think that you get the idea with this. But all of that is a content idea. And you're really sitting on a treasure chest of ideas already. All you need is that system for capturing those sparks when they come up, which is also, little tangent here, a huge factor in having something to say, being actually able to find that idea that you had. So I really recommend, instead of writing it in a notebook and it being buried under pages of other unrelated notes, that you actually have a focus point to put them. I have a spreadsheet. I'll put in the idea, where it came from or what inspired it, a broad theme that I can put it under as well. You may not love spreadsheets, and that's fine. You can use a Word document or use a project planner like Asana or Notion, whatever it is. Even the notes app on your phone, put it in the same place every single time so that you can find it easily. And so when it comes time to sitting down, like in this workshop that's coming up, and actually mind mapping your ideas, you'll already know where you can go back and find those sparks and build from there. And it's this idea of content curation to help spark originality, not copy other people's ideas, that I really love. Sometimes I might be in the middle of something and not be able to actually stop what I'm doing. So I want to make sure that I note the idea, where it came from, and what I was thinking. So this means that at a later stage, I can go back to it and ask myself and go a bit deeper. Do I agree? Do I disagree? Can I simplify this? How can I add a story or an analogy? And how would I explain this in my own way? So start collecting those things that make you think or make you feel something. So it might come from an Instagram post, an article, a quote, a comment from a client. Record it and think about your own twist and what that means for your audience. So you don't need to be the first person to say something. You just need to say it in your way for your people. So now you have some ideas on how to come up with the ideas and to save them for a rainy day. How can you put them into practice and then actually make them strategic? So like I've previously mentioned, this is a yearly activity for me. I feel so much less pressure at the beginning of the year, knowing that I have everything out of my brain and onto paper, and that I can add to it at any time as new ideas or perspectives or trends are sparked. So this brain dump is also the first P, prepare. In my content creation blueprint, it sets up the other 3 Ps that come after it, which are plan, produce, and process, so that you begin to have a low pressure, repeatable technique that frees your mental load to be able to focus on other areas of your business and, well, life, quite frankly. It's in this second stage, plan, that these ideas then become logically placed around a theme that fits with your current objectives, what you're trying to sell, what you're trying to achieve with your content. And a current example of this in progress right now is the fact that I have this upcoming workshop to create a year's worth of content ideas. So within my 90-day content plan, this month is all about content ideas. So my podcast episodes are focused on this topic. So hopefully you'll listen to one of those episodes and think, yes, I'd love to have all of my content ideas out of my head and be more strategic with what I'm thinking about. So that's how it starts to become strategic. Then I've used the third P, produce, and actually recorded and published the episodes. And the fourth P, process, is how I take the content from my episodes and use it for social media and emails, which I've talked about in a recent episode. So you can say that getting the ideas out first and then building on them throughout the year can really save you a whole heap of heartache and a whole heap of brain space as well. Because really, we have other things to think about. So the greatest gift that you can give yourself is some time with your thoughts. You might actually just be surprised how much is already in your brain, just waiting to be tapped, waiting to come out, if you just give yourself that time. And I have seen this shift so many times inside my communities, inside the Content Effect membership as well. There's been times when members have come to me saying that they've hated creating content and they never have any ideas and they just want to throw the baby out with the bathwater. But once they attend the workshops and do the training inside of the Content Effect and really give themselves permission to do it their way, then that's when the ideas start flowing. You really stop staring at that blinking cursor and start sharing content from your heart that feels easy to create and easy to share. Once you can do that, and once you understand your content creator archetype, you can start creating your own system of planning that feels really easy for you to do. And I think that the lesson here is the power of sustainable inspiration, not just random hustle when it comes to your content creation. Okay, so I'd love for you to take a moment now, maybe even grab a journal if you like, and reflect on these following questions. to help you see where you can tune into content ideas or find the opportunities for those ideas. So the first question is, what's something that drives you crazy about your industry? The second question is, what conversations or questions have popped up lately that could be turned into content? And what's something you've changed your mind about recently in your business or your industry? Don't judge your answers here, just let them flow and see where your intuition takes you with your content. So, once again, we've covered quite a bit in this short amount of time in this episode, but I really love for you to take away from today's episode that you have so much more inspiration around you than you realize. You just need to gift yourself the time and the support to make it happen. So if you're ready to not just feel inspired, but actually walk away with a whole year's worth of powerful content ideas, then I'd love for you to join me in my year's worth of content ideas workshop coming up at the end of this month. This live and interactive session will help you map out intentional, doable content that actually moves your business forward. I know you're going to walk away with clarity, confidence, and a content bank that feels so good to have in your back pocket. So just head on down to the show notes to save your spot. And don't forget, if you join me live, you'll receive a bank of AI prompts that are going to amplify your ideas and take them to the next level. Hope to see you there. Talk soon.
Thanks so much for listening. That's it for another week. To get more powerful content in your life, make sure you're following along on socials. My handle is @MELDBusiness. And just in case you're wondering, the groovy music for this podcast was created by Just Here on SoundCloud. I'd also be super grateful if you took a moment to rate and review this podcast so more amazing women like you can experience the power of content. And if you're like, hell Mel, stop talking, I'm ready to work with you now, here's how we can work some powerful content magic together. Firstly, come and join the Content Effect, my membership inspiring women with service-based businesses to ditch the content chaos and start creating stand-out content that gets you noticed and makes sales. You can join us by using the link in the show notes or just Google the Content Effect. The second way we can work together is via my one-on-one packages. We can create a sustainable content strategy or start to build out your client journey. It's up to you. Pop on over to meldbusinessservices.com.au/services to find out more. Until next time, have a beautiful week and embrace the power of your content.